Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press. Today, Friday, January 10th, 2025. I would say Southern District of New York, but we're on our way to 100 Center Street for the sentencing of Donald J. Trump. We covered the trial. We wrote a number of books. In fact, we wrote Pecker, we wrote Stormy, we wrote The Verdict, we wrote The Fixer. But this is the final chapter, apparently. There'll be appeals. Yesterday, the Supreme Court, by a 5-4 vote, declined to stay it, saying that there can be appeals, and that given that Judge Merchan has said he'll only give, that he won't impose any prison time, that there's not irreparable harm. There it is. And so we're on our way in. How it's going to work, I'm not really sure, but hopefully I'll get this one up before we begin a live tweeted stream. That would be in an ideal world. Down in D.C. today, Rudy Giuliani, about whom we recently wrote the book, Rudy Giuliani, From Prosecutor to Defendant in the SDNY. He's going to appear before Judge Beryl Howell on contempt motion. Contempt for continuing to speak about the Florida election workers. Of course, there's a trial that's supposed to start up here on January 16th to collect on the debt in Beryl Howell's trial's first judgment. This will concern the Florida homestead and the Yankee rings. So we'll be covering that as well. Menendez. There was a filing yesterday, even on Jimmy Carter Day. There was a filing. The U.S. opposes any delay of Nadine Menendez's sentencing. So that trial is supposed to start February 5th. They say that Nadine hasn't been agreeing to stipulations, which would shorten the trial by basically bringing in evidence from the Bob Menendez trial. Bob is set to be scheduled, and we're going to cover that as well. More politics. Eric Adams, regarding whom he wrote the book City of Maybe, gave his State of the City yesterday. Sorry about that honking. That's law enforcement, by the way. Gave his State of the City and pitched a number of items, including swimming lessons, more housing in Manhattan. But his key line was, some have said stand down, but I'm going to stand up. There was also a filing in the McGonigal-related case of Shestakov, Google it, in which the lawyer for Shestakov said somehow she was selected for grand jury duty service in the SDNY 2 days a week until August. So she's asked the district judge to take her off that. I'm watching that one just because it's to see what happens. I'm about to get to the courts. In fact, I'll turn it around. That lit-up building behind me, that's 100 Center Street. So to wrap it all up, we're also covering the United Nations. We used to cover it every single day, but just like this. Now we still get a lot of stories and write them, but they won't let us into the building to ask about them because they're totally corrupt and unaccountable. So we asked questions yesterday. In fact, after the briefing yesterday, yet more UN rapes were data dumped on the internet. A civilian raping a child in the Central African Republic. And you know what? The people allowed into the briefing room didn't ask it. There was actually not that few people there, but only 2 people even asked questions, and they were just softballs to get quotes about Antonio Guterres. So we're hoping it's a litmus test. You'd think. In any event, we're heading in. Inner City Press, to be continued.